Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Got another good one for you tonight. I'm so glad that you all can join me. And tonight we're going to talk about wild men and Bigfoot. Who doesn't love to talk about that? The question is Bigfoot real? Do you know? I'm sure you do. All right, you got a good idea if Bigfoot's real or not, I'm sure. But anyway, tonight we're going to talk about Bigfoot. We're going to talk about some real stories about papers and things that have been printed from way back in the day. Not new stuff, because back in the day they had old things. But I'm glad that y'all could join me tonight, and I hope you enjoy the broadcast because I really do enjoy doing these things. So give me a like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you ain't subscribed. We are trying to bring all kinds of good stuff here. We're going to do some other shows on other things, but does Bigfoot live in 2 dimensions? That's a good question. Is he real? Can he reach out and touch you? Can you find him? Can you psychically talk to him? I don't know. Well, you tell me. Okay, so this is what brought it to my attention. So I got this new book, and it's got all these old articles in it from, way back when, and talking about different things. So I'm going to read you some of them tonight. Here's one from the Daily Commonwealth in Kansas City, June 1st, 1883. It's over 100 years ago. The bones of a giant, which are on exhibition in a tent near the corner of 8th and Kansas Avenues, are genuine and really a curiosity worth seeing. The immense jawbone, the tibia, appear to have belonged to a giant whom from 20 to 28 feet. And believe it or not, anyway, physicians say there is no deception. Physicians mean doctors. And there seems to be no chance for it. The specimens are bones and not prefabrications. So did they have some bones of a real giant? Here's one right from where I'm at. Bismarck, North Dakota, same state. Right here. It says, a wild woman. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of wild women, but this one's a little bit extraordinary. A strange creature roaming around in the mountains of Pennsylvania. The authorities of the state unable to capture her. In Reading, Pennsylvania, dispatch of the 10th says that the people of Shenandoah, the vicinity, are at present considerably excited over the appearance of a wild woman, partly nude, with her long flowing hair down over her shoulders. This creature was first seen in the Rug Mountains by some boys who were out hunting raspberries. She was sitting in the shade and apparently did not notice the approaching of the berry hunting hunters. As soon as the creature saw them, she gave a shriek and took a leap down the mountainside and was soon out of sight. The boys proceeded to a neighboring house and gave a full description of what they'd seen. The whole neighborhood was soon around, and in a short time a whole gang set out in search of the wild human being. See, first they call it a thing, then they call it a human, and then a creature. So what is it? Is it really a human? Is it really a creature? I think it's just some woman who's been wild. When the party this time came in sight of her, the program was changed. Instead of running from her pursuers, she made a desperate attack on them. She resisted by clubs and missiles, but the party could not deal her a blow. She is as cunning as a mink, dodging and avoiding clubs and stones in a remarkable manner. Men who were in the encounter with her called for assistance, and when the force increased, the monster fled and was seen no more that day. She is described as being partly covered by fine wool or hair, and by all appearances possesses tremendous strength. Something it is one of those desperate nuisances who escaped from the county asylum. But as those who escaped from the institution several days ago, all have been recaptured, and it goes on to show that it must have been some other creature. Well, maybe she escaped, long time ago. And she's been living in the wild, which would give her that crazy appearance. It is evidently some human being who has been roaming over the hills and the mountains for some time. She eats dead chickens and anything she can find to satisfy her appetite. The authorities of Shenandoah have given instructions to continue the search to ascertain what kind of woman it is. Well, what kind of woman is it? It's either a woman or it's a man, one or the other. The party hunted all over the mountains today, but could not find no trace of her. Several weeks ago, it was reported that similar creature was seen on the Welsh mountains, and some think it might be the same woman. The affair puzzles the community. Well, there we go. Here's another one. Man or gorilla. This was in the Republic of Indiana in August 1st, 1883. This article says, man or gorilla. The extraordinary character who is scaring the people. Ottawa, Ontario, October 1st. Pembroke, about 100 miles north of Ottawa, has a lively sensation in the shape of a wild man, 8 feet high and covered with hair. His haunts are on the prettiest island a short distance from the town, and the people are so terrified that no one has dared to venture onto the island for several weeks. 2 raftsmen named Tough Boy and sailmen, armed with weapons, plucked up some sufficient courage to scour the woods in hope of seeing the monster. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon, their curiosity was rewarded. He emerged from a thicket, having in one hand a tomahawk made of stone, and in the other bludgeon. His appearance struck such terror in the hearts of the raftsmen that they made tracks for their boat, which was moored by the beach. The giant followed them, yelling and graciously wilding. They had barely time to get into the boat and pull a short distance out into the stream when he hurled the tomahawk after them, striking Tough Boy in the arm and fracturing it. Salmon fired 2 shots, but neither took effect, and the giant retreated hurriedly after at the sound of the firearms. It is more than probable that the townspeople will arrange an expedition to capture it, if possible. What Tough Boy describes as a man who looks like a gorilla wandering about in a perfectly nude condition, and with exception of the false complexity or his face completely covered with a thick growth of hair. What do you make that out to be? Obviously, he was using a tomahawk. Maybe he was a wild Indian, because it was 1883. Let's see, what do we got here? This is the Farmers and Mechanic, August 8th, 1883. A wild woman, or perhaps the mate of a gorilla recently captured, has appeared near Lafayette, Indiana, and is terrorizing the people. Miss Frank Kaufman, the wife of a well-known farmer, saw it in the other day and thus describes it. Miss Kaufman was passing through the timber when she suddenly saw to her right a hideous creature formed like a woman with long black flowing hair in the wind and the whole body covered with short gray hair. The creature was breaking twigs from a sassafras bush and eating the bark. The noise made into breaking the bush prevented it from hearing Miss Kaufman or her approach. Frozen with horror, the farmer's wife stood and gazed on the remarkable creature before her. Suddenly, the wild woman turned and, facing her civilized sister, glared with a fateful light of hate. Rising her long hairy arms, she gave an unearthly shriek and darted away into the forest. Almost paralyzed with fear, Miss Kaufman gazed after the wild creature for a moment. Then, with agonizing screams, she fired homeward. Her cries of fear attracted her husband, who was at work in the field, and he hastened toward her, reaching her side as her knees gave way with weakening results from the moral terror. He carried his wife to the house, gave the alarm, and soon 100 men and boys, accompanied by dogs, were on the trail of the wild woman. She was hotly pursued and several times came near being caught, but eluded her pursuers with a wonderful skill and cunningness. For fully half a mile of the chase, she was never out of sight. Her feet touched the ground, but seldom. She would grab the underbrush with her long, bony hands and swing from bush to bush and limb to limb with wonderful ease. She seemed only endeavoring to keep just beyond her pursuers until coming to the swamp. She disappeared and suddenly and effectively as extinguishing a light. No searching served to ascertain her whereabouts. So there she is, swinging from the trees. Yes, swinging from the trees and running like the wind. Oh boy, long black hair flowing in the wind and the big gray arms and her skinny bony hands grabbing to the tree twigs. Oh, let's see. What else do we got here? We got all kinds of stuff. Oh boy, lots of them back in the 1800s. Oh, let's see. Tuscaloosa Gazette, Alabama, October 11th, 1883. An underground palace. The following is from a Moulton advertiser, but our friend Jorad has a wonderful milk cow, and we are inclined to receive it without cream. On returning to the courtland in the afternoon, we found the people much excited over the discovery of an underground palace on the Big Nance, just below the railroad bridge. It has been explored for miles, and some wondrous discoveries made. It appears to be the entrance to a new and better world, where night never comes and the sorrow never ends. Or never. The bones of giant skeletons of men and women, many times larger than the Anglo-Saxon race, were discovered, and they are said to be in perfect state of preservation. We did not have time to visit the cave, but were reliably informed it has every appearance of the underground palace and is believed to be the door to a new kingdom. The most astonishing feature about the cave, if indeed it is a cave, is the light that one sees on entering, and the further you go, the more brilliant the light becomes. The air is healthful, dry, and invigorating. Images can be seen and voices heard all over the place, which baffles the better judgment of our scientific men. We shall go down and explore the cave at an early day and give our readers a more extended account of it. Where the heck is this? Moulton Advertiser. Courtland. I don't know where this is. Yeah. Well, if you live there and you've heard of this place, Big Nance, Nance. I don't know where that is. Well, just below the railroad bridge. Giant cave. The underground palace. Hunting a wild man. Alabama Beacon. November 13th, 1883. George Arnold, a farmhand in the employ of Frank Boots, who lives about 15 miles west of Shelbyville, Indiana, made a discovery which has excited widespread interest in the country, and the object of his interest is the skeleton of what once was a man, of gigantic proportions, which was uncovered in the gravel pit of Mr. Boots' farm. The skeleton was found sitting posture facing the east and about 6 feet beneath the surface. Some of the bones were badly broken by the caving of the bank, but the skull and some of the larger bones were taken intact, and from them many may be easily realized that the gigantic stature of the being to whom they once gave support. a measurement of the skull from front to rear. The rule passing from eye socket to eye socket back to the head shows it to have been about 16 inches, while the breadth of the inferior maxillary was 8½ inches, showing that the brain must have weighed from 4½ to 5 pounds. Wow, that's a big brain. Big brain. Careful measurement of the other bones established the fact that the man was, or when alive, was not less than 9 feet in height and large in proportion. From the appearance of the teeth, which are very large and do not show the slightest sign of decay, although they are worn down to almost the bone of the jaw, the man could not have been less than 100 years old when he died, and of circumstance he may have been much older. The bones of the lower jaw are very large and thick, showing an extent of the muscular development in that organ which is far beyond anything of present day. How long ago the body of the giant was interred, where it was unearthed, or to what tribe or nation he belonged, when the thing of earth in all the majesty of his strength, it is impossible to say, but it must have been ages ago, as all of the indications show, and the soil where the remains were discovered had not been disturbed for many generations. Steps have been taken to have casts made of the bones, and they will be placed either in safe collection or some of our colleagues' museums. So there you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed those readings, and for the most part, it was fun. And I got a whole book full of them. If you did enjoy them, let me know. Give me a comment. Give me something. Let me know. Send me an email. Everything is down below in the description. Go check out all that kind of good stuff. Check out my other shows. Remember, we'll be doing lots of stuff. A little here, a little there. Let me know what you'd like to hear about. I'd be open to anything. Well, almost anything. Got a lot of stuff. I got some other things. I got some books to read. I got some magic. I was thinking of doing a show on some magic next. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think about Bigfoot, wild men, creatures of the past. Were these wild Indians, insane people escaped from an insane asylum? Were these giants put there? Were they just big men that ran away from home? Was the palace underground real? Did you live near a palace? Have you ever heard of this? What state was this from? Under the railroad bridge. Well, go check it out. Maybe it'd be a good explorer for all of us. Anyway, thanks for coming. Remember, be the frequency you want to receive. I love you all. Take care. Thank you. Peace, everybody.